What's up, everybody? You know what it is, the MasterChef After Show. The contestants break down an entire halibut. We have a special guest with us, and 2 people are eliminated. It goes down. Let's go. Let's get it.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Come on, guys. Come on, give it to me. Who doesn't remember this? Up there.
I'm trying to forget it.
She's so confident right now. If only you saw before.
Wait, like Carlton in my chair for the whole internet to see? Let me. You haven't had me beside you in a while.
I know. I forgot what I was missing. I really did. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? You know what it is. MasterChef After Show right here. It's your boy Lem Gonsalves. We breaking it all the way down. Next to me is the dancing machine, Miss Ashley Chaney.
What's up? You guys are welcome for this song. How's everybody doing? I can finger gun to anything. I can literally finger gun to anything.
Tapping her loafers on the table, the floor.
Fly up out of here.
Man. We also have Carlina in the building. She didn't stay away. She's back.
She came back.
I love it.
Back.
And she brought some food, which we're going to get into. And I'm super excited because I'm starving. And it smells amazing. We also have Frank. He came back.
Sorry, guys.
Which not that happy about.
I know.
So, but, you know.
Understandably so.
We have to let him in. You know, we had to because we needed another person.
We missed you, Frank.
It's all good. No, I'm glad Frank's back.
Don't say it. You don't mean it.
Yeah, I don't. But it's cool. It's cool. We also, as I mentioned, we have a special guest we'll get into in a second. But before we get into our guest, what do you guys think about this episode?
Ooh.
I love anytime that they get to do like a breakdown episode where they're taking down something huge and they're breaking it down. And when you get to watch Ramsay just do his magic on something like that, it's awesome. So I got a bunch of questions for our guest about what that's like to see in person.
Right.
Yes, okay. I too would like to know, was that edited down or did he really just like jam that halibut like
crazy?
Cray.
It's so rapid. It seems like it's so rapid fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think he did it that fast.
There's
I think
no
there's
way.
a little bit of editing, but it was that smooth though. Like
those
how he handled the
fillets
knife.
were
Extremely
nice.
smooth.
I'm really excited how he let, the chefs be able to cook the halibut with their own style. So I'm excited to talk more on that.
Well, speaking of talking, we have a special guest with us via Skype land. He is doing his thing. He's still there, and I'm glad to have him with us. Gerron is in the building.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How you doing?
Gerron?
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. I'm actually at home. My feet's kicked up on my coffee table right now, just chilling.
Okay, I see you.
Not bad.
Down there, are you still in Kentucky?
So as of right now, I currently live in Nashville, Tennessee. Been here for about 2 years now, and so literally Louisville, Kentucky is about 2.5 hour drive.
Okay, really close. I was just seeing if you had a bourbon with you because you always talk about that bourbon.
Hey, you know what? They call me the bourbon boy because there's I cook with bourbon a couple of times on the show, and so I keep a bottle of bourbon in the freezer, man.
Word.
In the freezer. Tell me about
serious.
that. Am I missing out on a whole thing? Should it be
Right.
frozen? Cold?
You know
Go
what?
cold?
When you throw it in the freezer, it's always ice cold. I mean, it doesn't freeze, and so anytime you want to pop it out for a drink, it is ice cold, and it adds to anything that you want to add it with, like Coke, Sprite, whatever.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll let you know.
All right, now I
Well,
know.
we got some questions for you. My man Frank wants to start because he wants to know what's going on in that kitchen.
Oh, for sure. So, Gerron,
Ooh, talk to me.
when Ramsay gets up and he does his demonstration on how to break down a halibut, how do you actually get chances to ask questions, or is it he just does his whole thing and then you're just left to go, all right, we'll try?
Man, listen, it is so cool. It is the coolest experience in the world because like it actually is a master class. Like you can ask questions. Chef Ramsay will stop and he'll address anything that you ask him. And he's truly invested in like making sure that you learn whatever you need to learn to be successful. You don't see a lot of that because of the editing team, kind of edit some of that stuff out for, time's sake. But it really, like, it is real in the MasterChef kitchen. It is real.
But certainly with the editing, because it does give it a different kind of feel to it, because it really ratchets up the tension when you feel like you don't have any chance to ask any questions. You're just seeing them go boom, boom, boom. All right, guys, now you do it. You're like, huh?
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah. So it definitely does kind of give you just a little bit of tension. But remember that, say like the halibut for say, they gave us 20 minutes, like 20 real minutes to break down this big halibut. Like,
not fake minutes, real minutes.
20 real minutes. And, if I hadn't been able to ask Gordon Ramsay questions, like I would have choked, and I probably wouldn't even been able to, break it down on camera. So, you really need, like, it's important that you get those questions in so that, he can really let you know how to do it. So that when you do get on camera, you can actually do it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard you say that you had never even had halibut before. So this was something super new and super foreign to you.
Oh man, like when he came out with that big fish, man, I about lost it. Like I about lost it, man. I don't even I've never seen a fish that big. And like at one point the fish got so heavy, like I held the fish in my hand so long that I literally put my forearm in the fish's mouth and held with one hand, and then held the fish up with my by the tail with my other hand. Like it was a heavy fish.
Wow. That's crazy.
Really heavy. I mean,
Had you
that
ever-
was huge.
Yeah. Had you ever filleted any other either meats or fish besides the halibut, a giant fish?
You know what? So I have my uncle goes fishing all the time in Louisville, and so like local Ohio River catches catfish, and so my uncle has showed me how to like fillet and break down fish before, but I just don't do it all that often. I mean, you don't have to do it when you got somebody in your family who does it and cooks it on a regular,
Right.
and so it was one of those things where I had to really channel, like what my uncle taught me years ago, and like really like go in and like how to break down this flat fish, because like a catfish is a round fish, the body structure, the bones inside are a little bit different. So with this flat fish, it's just a different technique when you're actually going in with a knife and breaking it down.
Gerron, I want to talk about, because obviously you had to break down the fish. There was really only two winners with this, which was Caesar and Ashley. So they basically got to go up in the balcony, and the rest of everyone had to now make something, a dish, highlighting this fish. And you, again, not even having had it before, you pan-seared yours with sweet potatoes and actually did a really good job. Not that I'm, surprised, because you've been killing it.
It sounded like you were surprised.
I didn't say it like that.
Thank you,
But
guys.
I'm just saying,
Appreciate it.
the fact that you hadn't even, dealt with this at all, cooking or eating or otherwise. And so what was your mentality when you were thinking? Were you thinking of cooking like another fish, or just to do as well as you did?
Man, you know what? I live in the bottom. Like I live in the bottom. And so with that being said, like, perseverance is key for me. I'm always looking to get up to that balcony. And I treated that halibut just like any other like thick fish, like a cod or something like that. Most fish can be pan-seared. You add salt, pepper to it, lemon juice, and like it is good to go. And so I did the same thing with that halibut and hoped for the best. I think flavor profile is very, very important. So, what goes good with like fish and any type of fish, I think sweet potatoes go pair really well with fish, and like spinach is like that extra additive bonus. And so, man, I just really just like put my mind together, and I'm just like, okay, what can I do? What can I put on this plate to wow these judges? And so, man, I just went for it, and I came out victorious with it.
It worked out.
Yeah.
We got Carlina on our panel, who's our resident chef.
Hi.
And she's over here nodding and giving you the okay symbol.
No, yeah, seriously, because with the fish, he pretty much did sweet and savory. With the sweet potato puree. Is that what you were thinking? Trying to give that extra pop in your mouth, and you did that. And let's not even talk about you throwing in the onions in there. I'm so proud of you. You did a fantastic job on this, and your plating was fabulous.
Thank you. Exactly, that sweet and that savory note is always gonna work. But then I did a roasted red pepper coulis, and so that also kind of pairs with that savory note, that savory idea. And fish goes really fish and peppers go really, really well together, believe it or not. And so I was just really thinking, how can I make this plate beautiful? How can I make this plate tasty? And how can I use these big, bold flavors that the judges are used to coming from me?
Question.
And I'm so happy that it turned out great.
What's a coulis?
So a coulis is simply just like a pureed either fruit or a vegetable, like a raspberry or strawberry coulis. It would pretty much be like a boiled down strawberry or boiled down raspberry or even like a boiled down pepper, and then you toss it into a food processor to where it kind of breaks down into almost like a jam or something. And then you strain out the extra pieces to where you're only getting that juice, that natural juice from fruit or the vegetable. Yeah.
I just want to use coulis.
You know what, Gerron, as the resident chef and you being a chef, I think we should challenge Ashley to actually make a coulis.
Oh, I'll make you a coulis.
He's laughing I don't think she can.
I'll make you a coulis.
I'll be completely honest. Before I got to MasterChef, I'm this down south boy. I have 7 brothers and sisters. I don't know anything about really fancy food, chef, anything like that. I did not know anything. There was actually one of my other castmates, Ralph, who showed me how to make a coulis. We talked about coulis all the time, and he was obsessed with coulis, and so he went home on on the episode before, and so it was kind of a tribute to him also.
Oh, good old Ralph. I miss Ralph.
Yeah.
I want to find out, Gerron, because we know that it's these pressure tests can be really heavy, and you deal with a lot. And we even see some of your cast members, Chelsea, that kind of breaks down and freaks out a little bit. And everyone handles it differently. You've been in the bottom before. What is it like when you're in the bottom and you have the threat of possibly being eliminated? What is going through your mind at that point? Because you've done your best, but obviously, it didn't work out. And so, you're facing elimination.
Yeah, so two things. I stood right beside Chelsea when we broke down that halibut, and Chelsea was freaking out, and she was making me nervous, as much as she was freaking out. I know a little bit of it got cut out, but man, it was crazy. But to answer your question, it is to be down in the bottom, it feels really, really awkward because it's it almost feels like you're being judged from the other contestants. This is a competition at the end of the day. And so it gives the opportunity for them to kind of look down on you and look down on your talent. But then also, with Gordon Ramsay, Joe Bastianich, and Aaron Sanchez, you don't want to, all you want to do is make them happy and make them enjoy your food. And, when you didn't please their palate, then, something's wrong. And you just are really, really hard on yourself. There's been multiple times where I've been at the bottom and I felt like I wanted to, the waterworks would come and I felt like I wanted to cry. But at the
Lem
same
doesn't
time,
like it when men cry. He does not like
That is
that.
not true. That is not true.
It's
Gerron,
true.
do not listen to
It's
that.
true,
It's
He
not
had
true.
it out from Mark. No,
Yeah, he
there is
did.
no
That
crying
was
in
a-
the kitchen.
That was a different
Look, real
situation.
men cry, baby.
That's true. See, don't put me on Front Street.
No, but like I said, it really, really feels horrible to be down there. But one thing that kept me sane, you know, as much as I lived in the bottom, is just this idea of like perseverance. Like, you know, I'm here for a reason. I am, you know, as of right now, I am top 10 for a reason. And so like, I always keep that mindset, and I'm always looking to bring something new, innovative, and wow the judges every time I'm down there. So if I am in the bottom, you know, just know that my mindset is that I can come back and I can do better.
Word.
And so, you know, I'm a teacher here in Nashville, and so like with teaching, we always like one thing that we do is like feedback, and then implementation of that feedback. And so I use that same practice when I go into the MasterChef kitchen. You know, taking the judges' feedback, and then, you know, how can I implement that feedback the next time around?
Word. Well, Gerron, we want to appreciate you for joining us. I know it's late down there in Nashville, and you probably got some kids to teach tomorrow. So
Exactly,
we
man.
appreciate you joining us, and congrats for lasting this long on the show. You're in the top 10 now, and so went from the top 12, top 10. So we're going to see, I don't know if we have predictions of how far Gerron, because
I'm not gonna do that.
I'm just saying.
I can hardly
So
commit to one prediction.
Lem's already thinking you're going out the door, Gerron. So
No,
he's
that
like,
is not.
That's
no.
it.
Why do you?
I saw the way you looked.
Why do you do that? I think Gerron can go all the way. No, see, Gerron, they always hate on me. That's not true. I appreciate you being here, and I hope that you go as far as getting the #1 spot. That's all I'm going to say. So
I second that.
While you're on the phone
Yeah.
with him, as soon as you're off, Gerron, he's going to throw some shade.
that is not
Thank you
true.
guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, no, but thank you so much, Gerron. We appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gerron, yeah. Thanks again, man.
guys. I
Appreciate
appreciate it, man.
Y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, Gerron.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, lay it on. You think
always-
he's gone?
you
He's
always-
gone next episode, right? Start going, Lem.
Why do y'all hate on me so
No, because you hate on
bad?
everybody else.
I do not hate on. First of all, I just speak the truth.
Just the crowd.
That is not
It's not
hate.
hate if
That
it's
is
the truth.
I just speak the truth as I see it on the television, and I'm glad that they come on firsthand, and we get to talk to them and get them firsthand.
No, but
the reason
Gerron,
the reason why I was diverting to you specifically is because I remember you've been saying he's going to do well.
I've been wanting him to do well.
Right.
I will be honest, and Gerron, if you're watching after your episode, there was a couple of dicey what's the word?
What?
Competitions?
Yeah.
Challenges?
Challenges is the one I'm looking for. It started with a C. There were some dicey ones in there, and we've just all been really rooting for you. I don't know about Frank, but everybody else here has been rooting for you. So I think it was really great to see you do so well this week, and I hope it
Absolutely.
continues because I'm waiting for some really yummy, Nashville, Louisville inspired soul food. So I
Yeah.
hope you bring it. That's what
And
I'm
I don't think I think he's commented that he really hasn't been able to spread his wings in the soul food department. So as of yet. So it will be interesting to see what he comes up with, if a challenge kind of lends itself to that and kind of how he shines. So yeah, and like you said, he's, he doesn't, hasn't been responsible for cooking anything fancy and learning. And it's really dope that, shout out to Ralph for like helping him with the
Yeah.
quiz because that's his competitor at the end of the day.
New
So the
favorite
fact
word.
the fact that he helped him and they talked about that and he was able to use that to help further him in the competition. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
I think a lot of them do help each other, because they each have their certain skill sets. I don't think Emily's helping anybody, but I think everybody else is helping each other.
she's too busy being a baller. She
Yeah,
doesn't have time to help
yeah.
everybody. I called it last
No,
week.
for sure.
And she's you. I think you misspoke because it was
What?
Emily that got put up on the balcony, not Ashley. Ashley
Did I say
killed
Ashley?
this. I think anyway because our two it was
I said
Cesar
Caesar and Ashley. I didn't say Emily.
it's,
Caesar.
it's Emily that goes up to the
Yeah,
balcony.
it's not
Ashley is
Ashley.
the
You
one that
just
didn't
did
take
it
the skin
again.
off.
Oh,
it's
shoot.
okay, I
wrote it
gotcha.
down wrong.
But
Thank you for correcting me,
But the point to
as
the
you
point
always
being
do.
that I mean, no. But my point is that Emily's a baller and she can
Yeah.
do no wrong.
Right.
Just wanted to make
Gotcha.
sure everybody's aware of that.
No, thank you.
She's so good.
At least she waited till he got off the phone with Gerron.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm a nice.
Frank,
I'm
you
a
got
nice
something
girl.
to say. Save me right now, I'm drowning.
So, while Lem is plotting Gerron's exit from the show and rooting for it, he's starting up a Facebook page about it. Follow him on there. But, folks, here at AfterBuzz, we are producing the after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to satisfy and please you hard-working, hard-loving television viewers. But we need your help, so we're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. So if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't worry, they're optional. And so just hit the subscribe button right now for this channel and check out our AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. We've got a lot of other great shows on there. Lem does one. Are You the One? It's back again.
Back
Yes.
again.
Yes. Look at that.
Super
Watch all
excited.
that those shenanigans that happen when you throw everybody on some kind of remote destination.
Right. Try to find love and
right.
money at the same time. It's crazy.
And let us know that you did so. And you know what? Lem's going to give you a personalized shout out on air. And let me tell you, he works hard to craft these. The poet say does not disappoint when he gives you a personal shout out. You change as a person when you get a personal shout out from Lem.
It's a
Gonsalves.
gift. Your name lives in his voice.
That's right. So while you're waiting for that, and maybe your time will come, maybe next week, it could be your turn. But until then, thanks for being the best fans and helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Oh my gosh. Frank is back. You know he's back. Hallelujah. I want to quickly get into this elimination before we get into our special segment because I'm super excited for the special segment. But we did see, thank you for the correction again, Caesar and Emily are the ones that went up to the balcony. And so we see the rest of them kind of cooking. We see Farhan, he was overspicing his food, so he had to kind of tone that down.
Man, I love Joe's like just dressing down of him when he's doing that.
Right.
This is just you in a nutshell in this kitchen.
Right.
Like,
But he
all right.
he saw that. I mean, and he had the whole spice rack out there. So, I mean, it was something he needed to see. Samantha goes with the risotto, which I thought was interesting. And then Chelsea goes with Thai food, which I was wondering how that was going to kind of play out. And we kind of see most people pan-seared their fish, which Gerron said, like, you can pan-sear any fish.
Yes.
And so I think that was kind of the easy way to go, because if you don't know how to, what to do, you just pan-sear. Is that? Would you say that
Is the easiest?
Is the easiest?
Yes, because like baking, obviously on the outside it's going to look a little crisp, but you don't know like on the inside, which is I think what I forgot who it happened with.
Chelsea.
Chelsea,
She's
yeah.
still blood in there.
And there's still that can happen when you bake it. So
Right.
for those people starting out, definitely pan-sear it, but don't
Really?
overdo it and mess up like SJ.
I would have thought it would have been the way that Farhan did it, which is to like almost like boil it. 'cause
Roast
it's
it.
like,
No, that's hard.
Really?
That's why
'Cause you
didn't
can
you
overcook
notice
it?
like when they cooked it, you're like, that's risky. Yes, because you need to know exactly. You need to be 100% sure it's done
Lord.
before you pull it out of that oven. Whereas like the pan-seared, you're pretty much sure like you're more likely to overcook a pan-seared than undercook.
Then undercooked.
oh, okay,
Whereas
okay.
baking, you could probably undercook. And that's why they always say baking is 10 times harder than cooking.
It's very technical.
Yeah.
Farhan, he roasted his, and then Taylor grilled hers. So those are the only two that did not pan-sear. Everyone else pan-seared theirs, but obviously had different garnishments to go with it. Farhan had the best dish, which is interesting because, according to Joe's,
Yeah.
he's like, yo, you need to tone this down, and then ended up turning into the best dish, which was dope. Bottom three were Chelsea, SJ, and Samantha. Surprised me. I thought just one was going to go home, but no, it was two.
Yeah, that was
and it was Chelsea and SJ. Were you surprised at that at all?
No, because I feel like out of the three of them, those are the two weakest ones. So like, Samantha, I think she's shown better throughout the whole course of the competition. That I think that it's a stronger move to keep her around
Gotcha.
than lose the other two.
Word.
I don't agree. I think Samantha should have went home because not only did she mess up the filet challenge, she messed up her dish, whereas SJ was kind of in the middle on his filet challenge. So if we're judging based on that day's challenge, Samantha should have went home as well. That's kind of what I'm going by.
What you're going with.
Yeah, because I that's what I got is that they're judged by like mostly that day's competition. But if they're, I guess if, like you were saying, Frank, if they're adding other elements to it, well, then her and SJ are at the same level. And it was just Gordon, like who Gordon wanted to send home at that time.
Sure.
Maybe Samantha's a fan favorite, not my fan favorite, but that's probably why they kept her on.
Oh, that's how you really feel. Saying.
I will say I'll give it up for Caesar though because he's been struggling a lot.
Yeah.
And he's always
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna bounce back from this. Like I
Right.
tell my students, and he always still kind of stumbles. And then this time he just knocked it out
Yeah,
of the
he
park.
He did.
It
He's
felt
back.
good. It felt good. To,
Caesar's
like,
back.
see
Wait,
him.
you know what? Caesar probably saw last week's episode when I was like, if you don't step it up, I'm personally going to send you home.
Yes.
You stepped it up, Caesar. You can stay.
Right. He went back in time
Yeah.
and then stepped it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Said, see, Carlina, I did it.
I did it.
That's exactly what happened. Okay. Speaking of Carlina, let's get into the special segment.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yes.
Okay, so what you guys are trying is my famous cheesecake, and what I do is I bake my cheesecake first and then I chill it. This is a little bit warmer though, you guys. Yeah, thank you for the sound effects.
I'm going to ask, when somebody says they're famous, so how have you gained your notoriety?
How have I gained my notoriety? Celebrities from Warner Brothers and Fox have brought me in to bring in this cheesecake,
Oh,
and I paid
nice.
for college making this cheesecake.
Get out of
I'm
town.
so
Yeah.
excited.
Look at this.
Can we bring it up on the screen? Because I know there was a big picture that we took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There
in
you guys
college,
go.
how often are you turning out these cheesecakes while you're in college for people?
Oh, when I was in college, at least 6 a week.
6 a week.
Six
Charging
a week.
them like $30 a pop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Could have paid for someone else's college too with those prices.
Are we
back in
doing it?
time
We
and help
going
me
out?
out.
Yeah.
That's
Are
what
you
he's
guys
asking.
doing it? Wait, let's watch you guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. And then that's just like a graham cracker crust on the bottom, like
this
lightly
is just
battered.
a homemade, lightly battered graham cracker crust that I
Yeah.
just whipped up together.
So the cheese is a lot chunkier than the typical cheesecake
Right.
because I beat it by hand,
Okay.
you know, and so I really want that chunk in there. So you're appreciating the cheese because it's a cheesecake. And that's why I usually don't. Sometimes, you know, people requested blueberry or strawberry, but I really like it by itself because the cheese is the highlight and its texture just complements the entire dish. So.
Sorry for you listeners and viewers that can't taste this. We are here to tell you it is pretty good.
But you get it here, a lip smacking.
I really do appreciate, because I mean, cheesecake that typically I've had in the past, it's a lot more dense and a lot sweeter.
Yes,
And I like that it's not as sweet and not as dense. It's very light, and I do like, because at first texturally I was like, wait, this doesn't like a cheesecake. But when you explained it, and it's like, oh, you're highlighting the cheese. It's kind of like cheese curds in a sense. And so that makes me appreciate it more. So yeah. So
Is it
shout
just
out.
cream cheese? What kind of cheese? Is it cream cheese?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like the way I whip it, you know?
Whip it good, girl.
Whip it good. And, you know, like you said, highlighting on
can't
the
help myself.
not a lot of sugar in
Right.
there. Like the entire pie, there's only half a cup. So you're probably getting like an eighth in your actual slice.
In my slice.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
don't
that's
like
why
to
I'm
know.
saying like the cheese is actually really the star in this.
That's dope.
And not many
Nice.
chefs do that. They like throw so many toppings on top of it and you're having like it's strawberry cheesecake, but you're literally having strawberries with a slice of cheese on the side. So that's kind of why I made mine this way.
Thank you so much for bringing this in.
Of course.
I'll admit, when it comes to cakes or pies and stuff, cheesecake is my least favorite, and I rarely ever eat cheesecake. But this, I will say, this is by far the best that I've had, just because it's of everything that Lem was saying.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
That's great.
Yes.
And you know what? So many people have told me that, Frank. They're like, I don't like cheesecake, but I like your cheesecake.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm not a
thank you.
huge fan either. Like, I mean, I'll eat it. It's food.
Yeah.
And it's great. But it's if on the list of dessert foods.
Yeah.
It's just like at the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is outstanding.
I can see
Thank
why
you.
everybody's been asking you to make this for them.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
If you guys are, near Burbank and you want a slice of
Right.
cheesecake,
We have
come
some
on
extras.
over.
We have some. Well, 2 more slices left. You have to fight people. All these people, as soon as you walk out, it's going to be crazy.
If people want to get these from you, can they still do it? Can
Yeah,
reach
they
out?
can.
All right.
How do
So
they do so?
I'm gonna like, you guys can follow me at Cooking with Carlina. Just send me a DM and I'll send it to you.
Shout out.
Slide into those DMs. It's worth it.
Those
So
DMs.
tasty.
Slide my
Hide into
DMs
the
for some
DMs.
cheesecake.
Right. I was
Yum.
worried about saying that because you're like, it's like, wait a second, you did the wrong impression with some people. Like, would you ever go on a show like MasterChef?
You know what? I thought about it, but like the time pressure, like gets to me. And I kind of did challenge myself to make this. I gave myself 2 hours. I think I was telling Lem about
Yes,
this. 2 hours to make a cheesecake. So that's literally like an hour, like 15 minutes of prep, 45 minutes of baking, an hour in the fridge, and out. That's like MasterChef level. So I was like trying to like see if like I could do it
Mimic
because
that.
normally, mimic that to see the pressure. And I think when I walked in, one was like, you could tell I was like, like
A little flustered.
is it hot in here?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot my toppings. What's happening? Like it's a lot of pressure to like when you go from cooking like leisurely to putting yourself in that time pressure. So that's what I'm saying. I totally respect the chefs on this show.
Yes.
But would I do the show? Probably not because of the time constraints. But
Okay.
the actual skill sets itself, like having to cook for Gordon and stuff, I don't think that would scare me. It's the fact that Gordon would be like, hey, Carlina, I need you to fillet a halibut in 20 minutes. And I'd be like, oh my gosh.
Can't do
Like,
that.
yeah, no.
Gotcha.
So I respect them so much. I'm just somebody who's probably going to open my own little bakery and you can come on by.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Well, I'll be there, question right, with this stuff. Let's go ahead and get into predictions. Let's do that. Oh, before I...
He's cheesecake drunk, as
It's very true. Very true. All right, so we see that there are 10 left, and it's getting down to the wire. It started with 24, right? And so we're now to the top 10. So who do you think, I'm going to ask you, first of all, who do you think is the front runner, and then who do you think is at the bottom at this point? So around the way, who do you think is the front runner now?
It seems, I feel like Emily. I mean, I'd love to say Caesar, but he's just so up and down that I feel like I would need to see a little bit more consistency from him to be able to get on board the Caesar train. But it feels like Emily, she's doing great in savory and sweet. So I feel like she's right now the one to beat.
Okay.
But in terms of the bottom, Farhan, I mean, I love him, but he stumbles so much that I could see, he did well this week, but I could see him just kind of crashing and burning next week too.
Okay, interesting. Who do you
Okay.
think?
I agree with Frank on the front runner, Emily. Like, she's pretty much got this in the bag. Everybody else needs to step it up because she, like, knows what she's doing. And maybe she's so tunnel vision. I don't know. But, you know, in terms of being, like, owning her own restaurant, she's got it. She's got it down pat. Oh, man. Like, who I think is going to go home. I don't want this person to go home. This is so sad. I think Taylor's going to be out soon.
You're not
What?
wrong.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Not wrong.
Yeah, like she's always has like, this is good, but not this. Do you notice that every time they say that this is good but not this? And she's been lucky, I think, to stay. She hasn't been like doing really bad or doing really good. She's been floating. So I think there's going to be a challenge where they're going to like get Taylor to really see if she is worth being in the top 10. Like Gordon said, it's going to get harder. And I'm sorry, Lem, but your girl, I think she's going to be gone.
Okay.
I said I
Will
didn't
you
want.
still
I said
watch?
I didn't want her to go because, you know, this was like her third time auditioning, right? But like, nah, she's not going to survive too much longer.
Okay.
I think when that happens, Lem's actually going to personally fly out to her where she lives and host the show from there.
Listen,
to-
we're
to
so
hear that.
sorry. We brought you some cheesecake. We love you. Does this ring fit your finger? Just questions. No, I'm with you though. Unfortunately, I like Taylor. I really think she's a nice gal. I haven't seen any kind of tremendous cooking. I haven't seen any real star culinary moments from Taylor. I think she's kind of skirting by in the unnoticed zone right now, in the way that I think Gerron was too for a while. Like we commented on it last time. Like he's just kind of floating by. So those are my two. I think Gerron and Taylor are in kind of danger zone area, and I don't want to say this because I love her and I think she's a rabble rouser, but I think Shanika even had some trouble this week. So she's up there, but I think Emily can do no wrong. God, love you, Emily. Make a cookbook. I love
Even
her.
if you don't win, just make one. Just
Right.
I
it's
hope
just
we
for
get her
Ashley.
on the show so I can geek out a
Yeah.
little bit. Love you.
I think definitely in consensus with Emily. I mean, she's definitely been probably the most consistent of everyone. I think for me, just based on this episode, from what I saw, because she seemed so flustered, was Samantha. For me, obviously she had some great highs. She's the one that made the one with the college students that, which was it? It was the cupcakes. She had the really dope cupcakes. But I think she's a good baker. But I think when it comes down to cooking, I think that is her weak point. And I don't think that unless there's more baking challenges on the horizon, I think if it's consistently savory for a while, I think it's going to hurt her. I mean, obviously we have the team challenge coming up. So if it's, put it like this, if it's a team challenge, her team loses, and then they have a pressure test for something savory, she's in trouble.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with that.
Well, but I can also see with Samantha too that just the idea of like being overwhelmed by having to fillet a halibut, and that just throws you off your game.
Totally.
So maybe if she was making something that she felt more comfortable with, she'd perform better. maybe, but she doesn't have those years of experience.
She's the
that maybe
youngest.
to be
I was
able
going to say, yeah,
yeah.
she's right now. She's the youngest. She's only 20 years old, so she doesn't have as much experience as some of the other people. So I also think that is, a knock against her. So
Even just in terms of like life skills, being able
Yeah.
to handle pressure like in
Correct.
life, like out no matter what scenario you're in.
she's still in college. Yeah,
And all these senior people, it can be totally intimidating.
absolutely.
And I mean, it's MasterChef. They're looking for the best. So eventually she's going to have to figure out if she either wants to A, stay on the show, or B, try to figure out how to cook more savory dishes, or she's never going to survive.
Well, we'll see.
Dun, dun,
We will see.
Shall see.
Any last words for Taylor, Lem? Just give her a pep
Anyway,
talk.
speaking of Taylor,
Where can Taylor find you?
Taylor is going to be our guest on the show next week.
Oh, so you flying out there?
Taylor.
So all that mess you were talking about, you can talk to her directly and don't hold back. I'm going to profess how amazing she is, as I've always said, and you guys can look bad. That's all I'm saying.
Taylor,
she's
you
gonna
may
be
not win the
around.
MasterChef trophy, but you've won Lem's heart.
She's going to be around for a long time. You guys are haters.
Because you guys
so-
are going to be married, so that's right.
Not true. I'm sure she has a wonderful relationship with
But
someone.
in case she doesn't,
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's been our show. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to our boy Gerron for joining us. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. You can find me everywhere. I'm Lem Gonsalves at The Poet Saint. That's at The Poet Saint. And you can also check out our website, my website, stayonthemic.com. Ashley on camera, aka the dancing machine hater. Where can they find
that's
you?
right. Hey, if you guys want to dance online with me or talk about what you're watching on Netflix or what you're cooking in your kitchen or what you're eating at restaurants anywhere in the world, find me online at Ashley on camera and let's talk about it there, please.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, if you guys want to cook some cool recipes, hit me up and be like, hey, Carlina, does this look good? Follow me at Cooking with Carlina, and then I have really cool recipes at cookingwithcarlina.com and vegan recipes too.
All right, get a jackfruit, everybody. That's what everybody's living on jackfruits. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie, and I'll also be tweeting out the link to Taylor and Lem's wedding registry as well.
yes, yeah.
Putting together. So get ready.
TheKnot.com.
That's right.
Terrible.
We're never invited
He's going to
back.
officiate his own
my
Lem's going to fire us.
Officiating my own wedding. Anyway, that's been our show. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.